Oh, do you see all these names? Oh my goodness. We're backstage. This is the backstage pass with Boscov's Berks Jazz Fest. I'm looking at the schedule and going, holy Hannah, there are so many people coming into town. And I'm sitting here with Chuck Cuck because you, Chuck, are in charge of moving all of these people from airports and hotels and taxis and getting them to, do they stay overnight?
They stay at the hotels, yes. They do. We get a lot of comp rooms, and that's where they're at. But yes, on that list that you have, there's approximately 175 names.
I was trying to do a quick count. I'm not that good. 175.
Well, that's what we average, about 175 people that come in that are for ticketed events. These are all the major performers. And what my job is I get them from the arrivals gate to the hotel lobby, and then I get them from the hotel lobby to the departures gate. And
so you're one of the, you know, all these years at Jazz Fest, I always heard about the transportation committee. And the transportation committee gets to pick them up.
That's us. We're secret.
Yeah, I never knew who they were.
Right, yes. We're so we stay out of sight.
You do? You do that really well. Is that on purpose, Chuck?
I think so. I was like, I'm not sure why. I inherited this job or whatever, but you know, we just kind of like fly under the radar.
No, wait, you inherited the job.
Right.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it for 6 years, but prior,
as coordinator.
As the transportation manager, but prior to that, there was a guy named John Graff.
Okay.
And he did it from the very, very beginning of the festival until, I don't know, until 5 or 6 years ago, until I took over the job. He's still very, very much involved in the transportation aspect, but when I came on as I do the major artists from airports, we kind of split the job, and now he does the local transportation. So
can you delineate the two? From airports, it's obvious, but what's local?
So local is after we get somebody here, they have to go from, say, for example, the Abe Lincoln to the Scottish Rite.
Oh,
so then he makes those runs back and forth and arranges runs with, well, actually the same vans and some of the same drivers.
So do you rent vans for this whole process?
Right. We operate basically with 3 15-passenger vans and have for the last couple of years. And I have a bank of, I don't know, 10 to 12 volunteer drivers. And we put on approximately 10,000 miles in about 12 days.
Oh my gosh.
5 or so thousand miles are on the vans, and the rest of them are on our personal vehicles. So
are you using personal vehicles to go from venue to venue?
Not usually, because usually they're groups, but personal vehicles, when it's like just one person coming in, our driver will take their personal vehicle and go pick somebody up.
I hope this isn't a dumb question. Could be. Somebody's flying in. Are they bringing their equipment with them?
Sometimes, yes. So yes, these 15 passenger vans, we have the back seat removed. And if necessary, we actually send a second van for equipment if we need to.
Do you have to actually hoist the equipment, and you're hoisting bags? You're doing all of that?
I don't think, I'm not anymore. I was like, and I don't think my drivers are, because some of them are, you know, in their 50s and 60s. You know, it's probably the band managers and the band themselves. You know?
So they're handling the equipment.
They handle the equipment. We just get them from one location to another.
And you started this how? How did you? I mean, what does Jazz Fest is in town? So what was it that said to you, all right, Chuck, maybe I'll just go do this a while and go drive people around?
Tell you the truth, I'm a big fan of the Greatful Dead, and have been for years.
No way, really.
So I know that's not jazz, but you know, when I heard that Bruce Hornsby was coming into town, I don't know, it was probably,
I remember that.
I don't know how many years ago it was. Well, probably almost 20. I went after John Graff because I heard volunteer drivers brought these acts into town. So I chased John Graff down. He was up in Temple, not far up the street from me, you know, when I was at Frymores. and he had his own rental business, and I chased him down and went and met him, and he knew I was coming because when I pulled into the parking lot, he says, "So you're Chuck, and you want to drive Bruce Hornsby into town?" And I said, "Yes, that's me." And he goes, "And so you shall."
How did he know?
So, because he he just knew when I pulled into the lot, he figured it out. He sent me. I borrowed a nice big town car off of Frank Simon's over there at Advance Auto on the Fifth Street Highway. I went down and picked up Hornsby, and it was before the days of Osama bin Laden. So I parked the car. Well, actually went into the gate, into the terminal, and waited for the 6'5" Bruce Hornsby to come up the chute or whatever. And I said, "Bruce," I said, "I'm Chuck. I'm your driver." "Oh, great," So I load him up in the car, and we get going. I don't know. He makes a few phone calls, and we kind of like get settled in. And by the time we get to Oaks, I ask Bruce. I say to him, I said, "Bruce," I talked to him about the show that he did in Frankfurt, Germany in 1990, which I recorded. I had a cassette deck there, believe it or not. Yes, the word cassette. And I recorded the show, and that's the show that he did his very, very first cover tune. He did Valley Road with the Grateful Dead for the very first time. So I questioned him about that. I said, "Do you remember your first cover with the Grateful Dead?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "What was that, Bruce?" And he said, "That would be the Valley Road in Frankfurt, Germany." And I said, "Oh, so you remember stuff like that?" And he goes, "Yes." He goes, "Chuck, there's some things you just don't forget when you're a performer." I said, "Really?" And I said, "Oh, Bruce," I said, "that show was amazing." I said, "Bob Weir was just about ready to do The Promised Land, and Jerry cut him off, like, next thing you know," he goes, "Chuck, your memories of that are just so remarkable." I said, "Well, Bruce, I was there, and I taped the show, and, I was, and he said, "And where's the tape?" I said, "It's in the cassette deck. I have it queued up." He goes, "Put it in." I shoved it in. Well, make a long story short, 2 or 3 minutes into the thing, the big Lincoln Continental, he was like this, up. And I'm sitting here, here's my head, and here's Bruce Hornsby, and he's singing along with himself, and he's going louder, louder, and I'm turning it up or whatever, and he's singing it, and it's singing along, and then he goes to me, he turns to me, he goes, "Did you hear that?" And he goes, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Hear what?" He goes, "That was Garcia backing me up." I was just like, I looked at him, I said, "My friends will never believe this." So, nonetheless, I got to drive Bruce, and I was his little assistant while he was in Reading, and that is how I started.
That's a big moment.
That was my first drive, and that's how I started with the transportation team. And I had so much fun that year. I mean, just with that drive, I just kept putting my name in, and over the next, 12, 13 years, I just kept doing drives and kept doing drives.
So this speaks to it. You're the second person that said, here's why I'm volunteering. I want to get close to the artists. I want to see the music for free. I want to experience it. So that's a pretty cool opportunity that we have here in Berks County with this festival.
Oh, and to this day, I can actually, believe it or not, I can actually email Bruce Hornsby if he's playing a local event.
Are you serious?
And I can still get a backstage. Yeah, I can still get a backstage meet and greet. So. This day, yeah, he still remembers me.
No, wait, that's interesting, because I hear from artists all the time, this festival is so cool because of the volunteers, but now I'm hearing from you, the artists are pretty cool.
They're absolutely, I'm glad you went there. It was like my favorite really are the trumpeters and the saxophonists.
Why?
I don't know why. They just seem to be the ones that just bubble over and are friendly. I don't know, maybe because their lips are always blowing on something. I don't, I'm not, I mean, there's Mindy Aber, there's girls and guys, whatever.
I got you.
But as opposed to drummers or, I don't know, guitar players. But the horn section people are always just absolutely incredibly nice and funny, and they just go out of their way just to talk to.
So if that was your motivation, 20 years ago, I still can't believe Bruce Hornsby was like singing right next to your ear.
So
why do you still do it? Now you're the manager.
Well, it's fun, and the process is kind of crazy. Whatever they actually form lists of everybody that's coming into town. I mean, with they give everybody's name and eventually, they give out my email address, and everybody gets in contact with me. And
so the artists are emailing you.
they're all emailing me. I mean, remember, we went from the days of pagers and signs
Yeah,
to cell
yeah,
phones,
yeah.
and now it's all by text message, and out they pop or whatever, and here we go.
So your phone book in your phone is pretty valuable.
Yes, I have.
I would think.
Yes, I have saved a lot of phone numbers over the years.
I'm sure.
So, and then I don't know. And then there's there's weather and rain and planes getting diverted and people missing their flights. Of course, they never miss their flights. They just say they're coming in on a later flight.
Right.
It's like no one ever a big name artist never misses their flight.
So there's logistics, and there could be logistical nightmares with it that could really cause you to pull your hair out. But despite that, you're still doing it, so the reward's worth it.
Sure, it's absolutely fun. It's just even chatting with the artist and having fun, right?
So if I look at the list right now and I say, oh, let me see.
Believe it or not, hardly any of it's in. It comes in the last 2 or 3 weeks just before the festival.
But I could look at this and say, well, Mavis Staples is coming. I want to pick her up.
That is me. That is me. Yes, I'm the one with that connection.
You're the one with that connection.
And believe it or not,
right.
and some of these people that come in that have been here coming for years, they my drivers think that they own this person. I mean, they have such.
Do they still pick?
And believe it or not, some of the entertainers that come in request specific drivers too.
How about
that? I mean, for example, Jason, in case you're watching, he knows that Nick Coleone actually just calls him directly. They don't even involve me anymore, which is kind of
cut out the middleman. That's wrong.
I mean, because they've turned into such great friends.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I remember an incident down at the Reading or at the college, the Miller Center.
Okay.
Where Mindy Abair was playing, and it was the Christmas show, and I actually breezed through, and I said, "Oh, how you doing, Mindy?" And I said, "How you getting?" She goes, "Oh, we have a car service." And I said, well, what's wrong with that? She goes, well, I'd much rather be with you. And she didn't mean me, she meant with any of the team. Car service is kind of, we're the first people they see and the last people they see.
So first impressions are really important, and the goodbye is bittersweet. We'll see you next year.
Right, exactly. So
that's very cool.
It's an absolute blast. So
it really is this huge extended family. Thanks for letting us share some of those stories, and I'm fascinated. I hope you'll come back again.
Sure.
And you won't see them because honestly, they're like ninjas in the night. They just drop them off and they take off. It's a fantastic job. Thank you, Chuck.
Great. Thank you.